Hey guys, this is Justin,
And this is Rob.
and today we are ranking Hayao Miyazaki's 11 films. We're going to be doing 3 for tiers A through C, and then each of us is going to put 1 in the S rank.
Okay, that sounds fair. What are we starting with? Do we want to start like hot, like the ones that we know we're going to put in S, or do
No,
we
I,
want to
I,
start a little more low key?
I think you gotta keep the audience waiting, Rob. I think we gotta get somewhere in the middle first, at least.
Okay, so I think a good middle one to start with would be My Neighbor Totoro.
Totoro at B?
Totoro at So three, there's gonna be three in B, three in A, three in C, and then two in S, right?
Why did you spell that backwards? But yes, that's correct.
I could see Totoro being an A, honestly.
We can move things around. Let's put him at B. It's like a safe place, and we can always change our mind about it.
I mean, what are your feelings on Totoro as a movie?
I love Totoro. Totoro is probably up there. I could see him in A, honestly.
I mean, he's Japanese Mickey Mouse. He's an iconic character.
Iconography for sure would be S, but I think between the two of us, I'm probably higher on Totoro than you are, and I think you like Totoro.
I love Totoro. I've seen Totoro in theaters. It's a really enjoyable, cute movie, but like my whole big thing with it is always the fact that the first time I watched it, it just gave me this crippling anxiety that the mother was going to die throughout the movie.
Oh
So that
yeah,
kind of like hampered my first watching of it.
that was the biggest plot twist that she survives, and maybe it's
It
just because
really
we
was.
watched too much anime in the past. But I was like, yep, she's done as soon as I met her. Let's put it in an A, and we'll see how we
Yeah,
get on.
I feel a little bit more comfortable having it start in A.
Okay. I think it's hard because, like, realistically, both of us love Studio Ghibli. I think you a little more than me, but nothing here is actually a C. We just gotta make some trade-offs, and something's got to go to C.
I mean, we could start hot with our C. I think it's a movie that everybody
I
really.
think we're
Yeah,
on
you're
this.
hovering
Yeah,
over
I'm
it right
hovering.
now.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, out of all these movies, it's probably in the bottom 3 for me, just because it's like it might be one of the most beautiful and maybe one of the most meaningful in terms of the message it's trying to display. But man, that is a hard film to watch. Like, it's just so tense the entire time.
It's incredibly poignant, and I get that, but it is also very heavy-handed in its themes, right?
Yeah, and that's the intention. It's without a doubt a masterpiece, but it's just between the two of us, maybe not our most enjoyed movie.
I think an extra problem for me is that I came at Mononoke after seeing almost every other like Miyazaki movie, so I was not expecting guys getting their arms blown off and like just gratuitous violence and just
Yes.
having it so in your face. I was not
Yeah.
prepared for that.
You haven't seen Nausicaa yet, right? Because that's the
I
other
have
one that's
I
kind of
I have
violent.
read Nausicaa, but I have not seen Nausicaa.
I'm curious your thoughts on Nausicaa.
I definitely enjoy Nausicaa more than Mononoke, but once again, Nausicaa doesn't hit the notes of a Ghibli, that the things I enjoy about a Ghibli movie, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I enjoy the comfiness and wholesomeness.
you know what though? Like, I like Nausicaa more than I like Mononoke, but
I do as well.
But it's weird because I feel like Mononoke has like more beautiful characters, better set design, more interesting animals. Like, all around, it has, like, on paper it should be better, but I think Nausicaa is a more enjoyable experience, and they both cover these themes of war and nature. But I don't even know if Nausicaa does it better. I just like it more.
You know what? Nausicaa gets bonus points for too. We both have seen Joe Hisashi live, and the Nausicaa theme was one of my favorite parts of that concert.
The Nausicaa theme is very good, but so is
Yeah.
Mononoke. But
No,
personally, I put
yeah.
Nausicaa in B.
The struggle is I'm not seeing anything else that would be in C for me necessarily.
Okay, then we'll leave it in the nether for now. Let's sort out some more stuff that we can agree upon. Because there's some stuff that I probably like less than Nausicaa. I mean, there's definitely stuff I like less than
Well,
Nausicaa. And let's see
Give
how
me what
high you
you
are.
definitely like less than Nausicaa.
No, I want you to go. I've already done 2 just now, so I want to hear some of your thoughts.
I would like to talk about Spirited Away. Would that be an S for you? Because for me, it might even be like lower A.
It's probably my S, and if we each get 1, or if we have to compromise on both, because I know yours is obviously Kiki.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And for me-
There's no reason to even keep it quiet. Kiki is indisputably in S tier.
And Kiki's like a B for me. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but like again, all these films are lovely. Kiki just sort of like fun, beautiful, cute adventure, and then it's like so down, and then you're like, that's the whole point. It's about blah blah blah. I don't know what it's about, but maybe it deserves a rewatch.
It's about finding yourself and not giving up on your dreams and accepting that sometimes your dreams aren't going to work out for an extended period of time. And sometimes you even need to step away from your dream for a little bit, but it's always going to be there and you're always going to be able to go back to it because it's your dream.
And
And I
sometimes
think
you're
that's something that should really stick with you in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it since I was a teenager, and I probably didn't have any dreams. And since then, I've probably all my dreams have probably died. So maybe it deserves a rewatch. Um, Again, haven't seen the movie that you saw, but uh, are we each going to nominate our S's, or do we have to compromise on those?
Kiki's an S.
Yeah, I was
There's
going to
no
say, I don't
like,
think we're leaving this conversation without Kiki being an S.
no, and Kiki has one of, if not my favorite soundtracks of a Ghibli movie. Not just from Joe, but we also got like great like 70s, 80s Japanese pop music.
I like how you refer to Joe like he's your buddy. Like, yeah, me and Joe.
No, we go back. We go
We
back.
go way back. Okay, so Kiki's there. All right, I'll throw a hot take at you. I think The Wind Rises goes to C.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have three in C anyway, and as much as I enjoyed Wind Rises, I also was miserable watching it because it
Dude.
was just so painful of a movie, but it was beautiful. It was fantastic. I love what was John Krasinski was in it. You had what's his name, Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it. Levitt in it. Like I really enjoyed the voice cast for it. But the movie was very heavy.
You watched like 5 Ghibli films like 2 years ago, I want to say, and this was maybe one of your favorites. And I watched it as well, and again, masterpiece. But I was just like, I'm never gonna watch this one again. This one's
No,
heavy hitting.
I will never be able to bring myself to watch this again.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a reason I did rank it very highly. It was a great film, a great movie, but like it was just one of those things where it's like I experienced that, I appreciate it. That was a lot.
It was a lot.
Like I just the moment she's coughing up blood and like, just basically dying for an hour and a half was not fun.
I think the characters are also like a little bit weaker in it because I know that the main character, he sort of seems like he's not totally socially normal, which maybe that's just who he was, but like it also made me like feel a little bit more disconnected from him compared to a lot of these other characters that are in these movies.
In the regard like his obsession, absolute like insane obsession with airplanes, and
He
even
felt like
to
a little
fault.
less than human at times, and
Right.
I think that kind of takes away from like falling in love with the movie rather than appreciating it. Like I appreciate it, but I don't love it.
That's a great point because I definitely don't love this character as much as I love somebody like Kiki or Sen
Yeah,
or
or even like,
Ponyo.
or even Princess Mononoke. I really enjoyed like the Wolf Girl.
Right.
Okay, so I think we got to throw some stuff in B.
I
think-
think
Go ahead.
I think a perfect B movie is Porco Rosso. I love Porco Rosso. I absolutely adore Porco Rosso. It's Michael Keaton as an Italian pig that flies planes, and there's absolutely nothing better than that. But it's fine.
As you say, there's nothing better than that. You're putting 5 things ahead of it.
But like it's hard to say because we're talking like these Ghibli movies are all fantastic, and Porco Rosso is a really fun action movie, but it doesn't really do too much more than that.
I think Porco's an A.
Really?
I mean, it's been about 15 years since I've seen Porco, maybe longer, but I think that it brings a totally different vibe than the rest of these movies. It's much more mature, and Porco's just cool. Like a lot of other Ghibli films, they kind of go one way or the other. They're either extremely war-oriented and very harsh, and then the other one's like very soft and cute. And I think Porco's just like an enigma of his own, like sort of a special character.
Yeah, and I do really enjoy like that jazzy theme.
Yeah, when that one hit at the Hisaishi concert, I was like, "Whoa, this is definitely my favorite soundtrack out of all of them." Having not listened to all of them prior to this.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'll give you A for Porco. I thought you were gonna fight me on like you thought it would be lower. That's why I was kind of starting at B. But I loved Porco Rosso.
I was like, I thought you would be higher on Porco than me, but I'm pretty high on Porco, and I definitely want to rewatch. Like Kiki's the one that I should rewatch. Porco's the one I want to rewatch.
It also has the brother from Everybody Loves Raymond in it.
We have such different experiences. Actually, I probably watched Porco in English when I was a teenager, so maybe we had the same experience.
Are there any of these movies you watched in Japanese?
I think I watched almost all of these in Japanese.
Oh, so you haven't watched the dub for most of them?
Maybe 50-50. Spirited Away I watched English. Porco probably English. And Kiki maybe English. Yeah. Yeah, I want to say that's the case.
You have Phil Hartman as a cat. I don't know how you don't watch these movies in English.
Well, he loses his voice halfway through, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's the bummer of it.
I think the perfect B movie is Castle in the Sky.
Castle in the Sky. I know, like, the problem with when you and I have these conversations is that, like, for me, something being iconic and like culturally significant boost it up for me. But for you, you're like, no, it depends on how I enjoy this movie. I don't care the impact it has. I don't care like what it means in pop culture and the influence it had. So for you, watching Castle in the Sky, you don't really, look at the fact that almost every like JRPG and the new Zelda game coming out is like having this whole influence of Castle in the Sky. You don't care about that.
It's not that I don't care, but I don't think when we do a personal ranking, it should affect us because otherwise everyone's list comes out the same. It's like if you do a top 100 movies list or top 10 movies list, then everyone's going to put The Godfather, Citizen Kane, Space Odyssey. And it's like, what's the fun in that?
Paddington 2.
Paddington 2. It's like my favorite movie list should be Rush Hour, Space Jam, and Forrest Gump, And it's like, that's a much more fun way and interesting way. Otherwise, what's the point of having a YouTube channel where we rank our favorite things?
Is that what the point of this channel is?
Oh, I have no idea what the point of this channel is.
Why doesn't it go higher for you?
I think that Castle in the Sky is a vibe. It's a very sweet and warm feeling movie, but I think it's a little less interesting than some of these others. It could go to A, honestly. It'd be like the lowest of the A's, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like, I'd be putting an A for you for sure.
I mean, there's something about Castle in the Sky where, like, it's almost as I was watching it, not even knowing the cultural impact of it, like, I could, like, feel that and see that. And that, like, for me, increased my enjoyment of it. I was like, wow, this is really just, like, at its core, a great anime movie. And, it's not perfect. It moves kind of fast at some points, moves kind of slow at some points. The main boy, what's his name? Patsu. I don't really care about him.
I like him. I like his positive attitude. He's very chipper.
I think he might be the like one character of all the Ghibli movies where the dub isn't fantastic, where I don't love who's ever playing him. And I'm not even sure who does play him. But then on the flip side, you have Mark Hamill playing the main villain, which is awesome.
The main villain's so forgettable, though. He's such a mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, but then it's like brought out like better because of Mark Hamill.
Again, this is one that I saw in Japanese. This is what I'll do to you. I'm saying Spirited Away is definitely an S. If for me personally, I think it's maybe my favorite, and I think it's also iconic. I think it checks a lot of boxes for both of us. Do you want Castle in the Sky to be your final A, or do you want to hold?
I'm fine having Castle in the Sky in B for now.
Okay.
I think that we're going to be shaking things a little, and you got to talk about Spirited Away now that we have it in S.
Spirited Away is one of those movies that you could watch it 100 times and still have no idea what the hell is going on. And for that reason, I sort of love it. I've seen this movie maybe 4 or 5 times, and it is about... What the hell is it about? It's about, like... Do you know what it's about? Like, I'm trying to think about it. Oh. And it's about kind of like finding like what's important to you. And...
Is it?
Like... I think so, because she's sort of like this lazy girl who just sort of doesn't want to do anything, and then like she kind of like grows up over the course of the movie and has to grow up in order to save her family. I think that's maybe a very shallow way of looking at it. I'm sure there's many deeper layers, but I'm pretty stupid, as we've talked about in recent podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, the simplest way to say it's a coming of age story. It starts with her not wanting to explore with her parents, her dumbass moronic parents. She's like, no, let's stay in the car, you idiots, you absolute morons. And then they don't listen to her.
But it's not because she's smart, it's just because she's like a little scaredy pants. And I think she truly learns to like, she's kind of like filling into her own skin. and she
Right, it's a
grows up.
coming of age story.
Yeah,
She's
yeah. But it's so much deeper than that, and I wish I had
yes.
the vocabulary to articulate what it really means. And
You
I'm
see,
sure there's
that's
a
the
lot of
thing. I
Japanese.
do have the vocabulary and intelligence to have that conversation, but with Spirit of the Way, I really don't know how to articulate it either.
It's a powerful movie for me, and it's maybe the most enjoyable. It definitely keeps you on your toes the entire time. Also,
I do love Spirited Away. I at the very worst, it would be A, I guess, but I have no problem putting an S for
I'd
you.
I'd be curious what your second S would be if you were making this list yourself. Is there something you feel that strongly about?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I do love almost all of these movies, and on any given day, things could swap around. Other than Kiki being, my number one, like that's never gonna change.
Right.
So like maybe tomorrow, Spirited Away would have easily been S anyway. Maybe like one day I'd been like, I love everything about Porco Rosso. It's such a vibe. Like,
So it's in the right
it's
ballpark for you.
cool.
This is not
Yeah,
like a
it's
stretch.
fine there.
Okay. I think we got to fill in another B before we close out any of the remaining ranks.
I mean, I love Ponyo. Ponyo's solid in B.
Ponyo's the only one I haven't seen, and I was going to stir the pot and just put Ponyo in C just to make you angry, but honestly, like, I don't really care enough.
I can't in good conscience put Ponyo in C because it's my wife's favorite.
Rolling my eyes.
What? That would be the wrong thing to do, okay? And Ponyo's
She doesn't watch our
Ponyo's-
videos. How do you feel about Ponyo, Rob?
I love Ponyo. Ponyo's easily his simplest movie. It's definitely the cutest. It's definitely the easiest to follow. There's not like a whole lot you need to think about, and that's okay. The animation in Ponyo it feels a little different from the rest of his movies in a good way. Like it feels almost, I don't want to say crisper, but maybe more colorful, more like energetic in a weird way. Because I think it has those like kiddie elements of it that like really makes it pop. Great score as always. It's a little mermaidy, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's all right.
But it's fun. It's a quick, fun, like kind of turn your brain off and just enjoy the scenery, enjoy the music, and enjoy the cuteness.
I think we are at a very interesting impasse. We have 3 movies left. I'm sure some things will shake up, but we have Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro, Nausicaa, and Howl's Moving Castle. And if we were to split these up between A, B, and C, I have a feeling our lists are complete opposites.
I don't think complete opposites. I think my order would be Lupin in A, Howl in B, and Nausicaa in C.
Our lists are complete opposites. I would be Nausicaa A, Howl's B, Lupin 3.
You'd have Lupin that low? I loved Lupin.
I mean, that's the thing. You said this earlier on. Like, I think we sort of love all these movies. At least all of them are like B or higher. But I think Lupin's just sort of like, it's like a chill time. It's like fun and funny. And but I don't think I took away any meaning from it. It's just like a fun little spy adventure flick. And then I think Nausicaa is maybe the most meaningful for me. And then Howl's is sort of an enigma to me. Howl's is sort of like, it's beautiful to look at. I don't love the characters. I know you're going to say something about Billy Crystal in a minute, but I don't love the characters. I don't really know what the meaning of the film was, and I'm not sure if I really want to watch it again, but it was an experience.
I am with you on all of that with Howl, except you get Christian Bale as Howl and Billy Crystal as a flame, which is awesome. But I do agree with you. Honestly, with Howl, it's like I've watched Howl probably maybe 3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times.
It's like I've heard like this Miyazaki quote where like sometimes when he's writing a movie, he's like starting it not knowing how it's going to end, and it really, really felt with this one. He had no idea how he was going to end it, and then when it does, like that, the last like 20 minutes, I'm just like lost. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening.
Why is Howl a bird?
Or not even that. Like, why are we time traveling right now?
I don't even remember the time traveling, to be honest. And also, like, the love story felt, I don't know if it felt contrived. I was just like, when did this chemistry build up? or why did this even happen in the first place? Like, why does she turn into an old lady? And it's been a while since I've watched it, but it just felt like a jumbled, I don't want to say mess, but it felt jumbled.
Jumbled is definitely the right word.
Is this
Although
is this the compromise?
I think this might be the compromise.
Is Howl's bottom?
But but the problem is Howl probably has a top 3 score.
Oh yes,
Like
the
I say my
merry-go-round
favorite
of life. Yeah.
Yes. My favorite scores are probably in no order: Kiki, Spirited Away, and Howl.
I don't think it's enough to carry it above B at best.
But let me stop you for a second. Why do you enjoy Ghibli movies?
I guess the same reason you enjoy any movie, right? It just
I don't necessarily think so. I think the priorities when it comes to a Ghibli movie are the art, the soundtrack, and then the story.
I don't know if I fully agree. I'm thinking maybe it's like there's a quote from Bakuman which is like only thing that matters is if it's interesting. And whether that interest is driven by the story or the character or the music, it could be any combination of them. That's kind of what drives me along. And I think Nausicaa is the most interesting out of these 3 that kind of like captured my attention the most. And I will admit that Howl's, if you break it down by component, Howl's definitely has the best music of the 3 remaining. But I don't know if that would like catapult it above to A or something like that for me.
But I'm just saying the reason we have Porco Rosso in A is because of the vibe. Like Porco Rosso is just a cool movie to watch because of like just watching this pig fly and this jazzy fun music.
Yeah, vibe.
It's not really the story.
No, vibe is a good word to describe why I would like a Ghibli movie. Vibe and interest.
But then again, Howl's Moving Castle isn't necessarily a vibe.
I think it's more of a vibe than Castle of Cagliostro, but I don't think Castle of Cagliostro is going lower than B, is my guess.
I really enjoyed that movie. I mean, I had no experience with the Lupin franchise until that movie, and the Lupin franchise definitely isn't what this movie is. Like, it's a lot grittier, a lot more hardcore, a lot more offensive than Castle of Cagliostro, which is just like kind of a really fun James Bond-esque anime with like cool gadgets and like one-liners and ridiculous situations. It's inoffensive as well.
I would say it's like a filler movie.
To
what our friend Rich called me the other day, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. It's a fun time, and that's okay. I think this is the problem, because we've set ourselves these very tight restrictions of something has to go to C. That's what's killing us right now, because otherwise we would both compromise on something going to B and something going to A.
If I may,
yes,
we put Castle in the Sky in A.
Okay.
Nausicaa and Howl in B, and Lupin in C. But Lupin has to be at the top of C.
I will take that compromise. You're falling on your sword for this one. I could honestly like Howl's go lower than Lupin. That's the thing, though.
I do agree with what you're saying with Lupin, where it's a little fluffy. There's not a ton to it. Like I said, it's a James Bond movie, and
I think that's okay. And I think that we're both sort of a little bit more down on Howl's than we are on Lupin, especially based on our rankings before. You put Lupin as A and Howl's at B, and I put Lupin as B and Howl's at C, maybe. No, maybe that's not true.
Making this a list of Miyazaki Ghibli movies plus Lupin and plus Nausicaa, right? Because Nausicaa's not Ghibli either, technically.
Right.
So, as like, let's just call it Ghibli for the sake of this conversation. Like, as a Ghibli movie, it doesn't have that soundtrack, and you need that Joe soundtrack to be like upper echelon for me. And Lupin doesn't have that. Nausicaa has that.
I'm not going to fight you on it. Are we happy with this list? So in S tier, we have Kiki and Spirited. In A, we have Totoro, Porco Rosso, and Castle in the Sky. B tier, Ponyo, which I haven't seen, but it's just kind of funny seeing it there. Nausicaa and Howl's. And then C, Castle of Cagliostro, Mononoke, and The Wind Rises.
Let's put Mononoke at the end.
I don't know about that. I'll do it for you. And that's our list, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and let us know what you'd like us to rank next time. See ya.